but I was also just drawn to the conversation that you and Deb and Liz had as an extension of that to keep pursuing this. So I was sort of seeing it as two things. I didn't know as much about what the mind bending part would involve, but
Yeah, very good. Who else?
I just heard about it 3 minutes ago. I hadn't heard about it before. And then I was invited after I said after I said yeah, I want to. I didn't even know it was today. And I was actually I was actually watching The Creative World. I'm in the middle of it. I have to,
There was supposed to be one yesterday too, and I got the IDs all switched somehow, and then had to re-enter to get the right one for today. And then I logged on, it wasn't accepted. So I thought, well, maybe that was just all some fluke of the brain, and so I used the other ID because I've got everything documented. I mean, everything. I take screenshots, save them, document, and then more screenshots, and then sometimes I do it again. That's Linda's little brain.
my
Bent
girl.
Who's 501?
Me.
All right, Jim.
Let me just, I just want to say one thing. I remember when I was a kid hearing about wildcat strikes, and I thought, why would wildcats be strikes? I didn't understand what it meant. And this is like a wildcat Zoom meeting. It's out of the blue. Come.
Or maybe Wild Dragon Zoom meeting.
Yeah, that is better.
Yvonne?
I got the sense of visual sense making. This, like you said, you were going to put up a board, and we could all write. You were going to write what we came through with.
Oh, interesting.
Am I off? That's what I got from it.
It doesn't matter. Sarah?
Terrible.
You already said yours.
Well, Yvonne told me, I was so scrambled after Sandra yesterday. I could not even listen to Creative World. I couldn't take any. And then Yvonne said, oh, there's a call on Saturday. And I said, oh, and so then I would just remember the Airbender. I remember that movie, loved that movie. And I thought, well, I don't know what she's doing. And we'll see if I can even take in information. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Very good.
And then, yeah.
So what happened was, after Liz and I did that spontaneous YouTube video quite a while ago, where we realized, so let me so what I titled this was Mind Bending Personas from Box to Spiral. So that's number one. Number two, in the past, I have always gotten information ahead of time. So then I set things in play. The spirals was that. Those of you did the spirals, those 7 levels of consciousness. Then I set them in play in linear time. The difference between the Magician of Self and the spirals of being and the 7 levels of consciousness is we're not in linear time. So when in the ethers of which my mind, within which my mind operates, in direct connection to creation, and this is the first part. I want to see if we can get a cognitive articulation. I want us to work on this next thing I'm going to say. The way we would have said it from the past is creation informed me. That this is what's up in the field, but it really isn't true. There isn't a creation out there informing me down here. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something is informing,
Mhm.
both in space forming and in forming. So I popped it onto a product because I knew at the time I popped it into a product, it would be mind bending. And if people weren't ready to have their mind bent, people wouldn't register. And at the time, because I canceled it. I canceled it about a week ago. Only 2 people had registered. So in the ether, in the EM, either it stayed a product and you registered, which I don't know how that happened, but it could have, because you had the link. Or I canceled it and there was a glitch in the EM. Now the thing you want to be clear about is I work directly with the EM. It is interactive, interrelated, and symbiotic with me. The EM is creation. We were EM before we were matter. It's the only reason we can exist here.
Can I ask a stupid question? Because my stupid question seems. What is EM?
Electromagnetic,
Okay, all right. Just
the electromagnetic field that everybody's terrified of, that is improving our intelligence at an exponential rate. So we have the EM separate from us. We have creation separate from us and at the effect of it. But truthfully, the EM is part of the mind of creation. So that simple thing, I was talking to Gary today, and I was talking to him about Kristen's and my interaction on the Magician of Self, and which she graciously interacted with me about, because I promise you that we are in unworkability. And we hold unworkability to be outside ourselves too. But our present personas are unworkable. We're watching a collapse of our own personality systems. So a simple thing about there's 3 steps to register for a class. 1, you open your email, you get your receipt, and you get your 2 emails at the beginning of every month. You get your receipt and you get what to open up, the link to open up on the second one. When you open it up, there's something that says schedule. You click schedule, and then you scroll down and you click book. Now that may just say, listen to your thinking. In your thinking, it's a system outside of you that is unworkable or works. But in partnership, in collaboration, in symbiosis, in interactive, interrelational realms, you are interactive, interrelational, and symbiotic with that system. You are. And we are headed into times where the systems have to be interactive, interrelated, and symbiotic with us. That's called a magician. When Jesus said, "Rise, thou art not dead," he was interactive, interrelational, and symbiotic with the system. He was not messed up because she was dead. He didn't have, "I can't make her live." He wouldn't have had, "I can't get registered into the classes." Now, why? Why? It's an actual question. Well, how did he identify himself that wouldn't have been a problem?
He was in all of everything.
He was being a source-based being. So when I say I set things up the way I set them up, I'm not kidding. Everything I do is purposeful. So, and if anybody noticed, like if Russ was on here or Jasmine was on here, I took 7 emails to explain it to Jasmine over and over and over and over again. I did 4 emails for Russ. And I took time to explain it in detail, not because I was trying to get him to do something right, but because I was regenerating their source-based beingness in their neural wiring so that they could start tracking something into existence. And this was what was up to do it with. Could have been something else. And then I noticed things like 2 of my closest people, the ones that are in the functionality of this, of me personally, and the system, and stand for the system of Tantra Mat. The 2 people that had, I don't know the term, breakdown, were Kristen and Melissa. Interesting. Interesting. So we're dealing in consciousness. And the consciousness doesn't identify itself in a box. And then everything outside the box is separate from it. And we have personalities that are boxed, and everything else is separate from it. So we don't have, it's actually the right term. I've got to get unsloppy about this. The right term is intra-active, intra-relational, intra-dependent, because inter means between and intra means within. So I've got to get a little bit more rigorous about that, those terms, because we are within the system now. I mean, that is miraculous. We are within the system. So then whales can say to us, we have each of you in a bubble up against our rib cage, so that we can return you to your language of creation that we taught your species to begin with. All these things become relevant. They don't become new age. Isn't that interesting? They become relevant because we're being identified by the system of creation now. For me to have that, I don't know if there's a term, for me to have that visitation by the whale, was just like having Yvonne call me on the phone and letting me know what was, how they were interactive, interrelational, and interdependent with the field of Tantra Mat now. By the way, we call this reality. Real reality. Multidimensional, multifractal reality. So even the booking of the classes, I will spend all the time in the world and not tell people how to, until we have developed an intra-personal relationship with the system. Therein lies the magic. And so I want to get all that covered before we start this mind bending. And it really is mind bending, but also, Sarah, air bending is a skill. Mind bending is a skill. We have mind bending like being at the effect of it. But that acuity system is a mind. And I'm bending it to my will. Because I need it to be what I need it to be on behalf of our ability to move with systems when systems are failing. Hence, Jesus says, please stand up and walk. Because in my system, in my collaborative system with creation, death has no sting. It's not part of the system. Reflections on what I just said while I look for something?
Go ahead, Carol.
Um, what came to me particularly when that about the personality is boxed, but our self is not. And I've just been experiencing that so clearly, and it helped frame it for me, dealing with an endless supply of bureaucracies, companies, shipping companies, move, you name it. And Dave really does help me identify that when they're being difficult or not doing what needs to be done the way I think it should be done, and my personality is just getting really mad about it. And I can see that my personality has the anger, and I can kind of know that it's just the personality being angry, but it usually isn't until Dave is sort of my observer for me and says, you know, I know you're really angry, but you need to just take a breath and just don't even respond to that till tomorrow. And he's totally right. And how you just framed it is that I'm experiencing both. I'm experiencing the personality that wants to like slap somebody. And then I'm also experiencing myself going, you know, your personality's kind of being something you don't really embrace right now. It's acting in a way that you don't embrace. But even when I do recognize it, I still, it's not coming to me easily to shift out of the personality or to manage myself from doing something I don't want to do because I'm angry.
But so let's break that down a bit. So first of all, you have identified your I.
Yeah.
And you bring everything that you're thinking into the responsibility of that particular I.
Yeah.
And that I is in a breakdown. It's breaking apart. Its
Yeah.
mind is being bent. The
Yeah.
mind of that I can't go past its box. So all it can do is beat on the walls. Or be in terror of the enclosure. Mine's been terror of the enclosure. That's a personality framework based in trauma and based in being at the effect of the world around it and conditioned to be at the effect of the world around it. Therefore, no access to its magic, period.
Yeah.
However, the unworkability and the fact that you have registered when all of a sudden something breaks loose and begins to flow, begins to move into right order. But you hold that to be a condition outside of you that has happened on your behalf, not that you are the spiral of being within which workability occurs. You have no way at this juncture to identify that. Identify that I, correct?
Yeah.
Zero, zilch. Excellent.
Every once in a while, it happens differently for whatever reason.
No, but hold on. But when it happens differently, you do not feel the I you feel when you're frustrated.
Correct.
You are another kind of I.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have no cognitive capacity to be aware of that. Just literally to shift.
Yeah.
To shift. So
Yeah,
that's
it does
box.
just shift sometimes.
Yeah, you can observe it
Yeah.
from the present box.
Yeah.
And you can tell the box is moving in a spiral. If you, now that I've said it, probably, you
Yeah.
can feel that it's moving into a spiral, but it's spiraling out beyond the present limitations of your interactive, interrelational, intra-dependent relationship with the world around you.
Yeah.
Very good. Good work. Linda. Are you off mute? There you go.
I said, I'm so glad that we went ahead and did this because this is just exactly what I've been doing. And I've been watching it and I've been participating and I go from the I'll use the word umbrella again. I go from the umbrella, which has got all of it, the whole part and parcel of me. I'll go back to personality. Even one day I thought I'd been put in a little box and I was kind of pissed. But because I don't like being put in little boxes. So, but I didn't stay pissed too long. I just don't anymore. So, I've just been watching it and playing with it and saying, oh, well, you're the big thing right now. And then you go back to the personality but then you go, it just goes back and forth. And I've just been playing with it and watching it and taking note. Sometimes I write stuff down. And that's very interesting. But
And that's very key. The inbred phenomenon of our present personality framework is to go find something, to go get it handled, or to go get it. Do you understand? That's the framework of our present what's the word I want? Personality system, is it not? But the minute you stop and you start to observe, that's why I asked Kristen to have a conversation with me, because I needed us to not get something or figure out something, because we can't figure out what we have no cognitive capacity for. It's impossible.
you told me a long time ago to quit trying to figure things out. So,
And what you do is you start to pay attention and you start to observe.
watch and feel and take in and experience. That's exactly what I do.
And you
And how is this view different than this view? And that's exactly what I've been doing.
so you stay in the landscape of what you're present to. Okay, hold on.
Yes. Yes.
You stay in the landscape of, and then Linda, because you and I've really been working, because Linda's done a couple of sessions with me, and she's done some multi-personas with me. And she was scattered. I gotta talk about you, Linda. She was scattered everywhere because she had no ability to be present to what there was to be present to. And through the activation and through discussion, she began to do what she's saying she's doing. And if you listen, she's more cognitive now. She can grab it in language. You have a perceptive relationship with something that you are beginning to be able to articulate. And I would bet money you're getting calmer.
I just don't know what to call the big umbrella part of me.
Now you call it the big umbrella. But that's the point. This is the muscle. The muscle is we have, if I don't know what to call it, I'm stupid. Or I'm missing the boat. Or something's not going to happen for me in our present rendition of personality. But I don't know, wait, Linda, let me finish the sentence. But I don't know what to call it means I don't know what to call it. Because I'm not cognitively capable of articulating what I'm present to in a manner that I have captured it in language adequately.
It's not that I wasn't capable. It's just I was trained not to even think of myself in those terms. That was called being full of yourself and more than you could ever possibly be anyway. So
And
that
it's
was forbidden as a child.
and to be destroyed.
And what?
To be destroyed.
Well, I'm sure. And then I had this experience with my parents that Wednesday or Thursday morning that was just absolutely phenomenal, that I've never ever had anything like that with my parents ever before. And I felt like somebody had come inside of me with brushes, hard scrub brushes, and just scrub me and clean me and scrub me and clean me from the inside out. And it was just the most glorious thing. And then I realized my parents were with me, and they were with me for about 2 hours. Nothing like this has ever happened. And they were so beautiful, and they were so complete, and they were so full of light and happiness and goodness. My parents, that was not a picture I've ever had of
Wait a
my
minute.
parents.
Please stop again. So you want to listen from reality and personality. All of you, I'm not speaking to Linda specifically. In the reality of separation, in the box, hold on a second. I'm trying to do two things at once. Okay. In the box, let's say the box was her family and her lived in the box of number 2, okay? And a personality is framed in that box, a relational field, okay? And in a reality of separation, that relational field is I was separate from my parents and my parents were separate from me. Then as the movement of consciousness begins to spiral her beyond that box, but because everything is a container, as long as we're physical and as long as we're human, we are boxes. Because if we don't, this is how alchemy works. If you can't box energy, that's why the whole conversation we had on Wednesday night about ritual versus purpose. If you can't ritualize something, if you can't hold the energy, if you can't contain the energy, you can't bring it into existence. And one of the magics that human beings have bringing things into existence is their cognition. That's why when we talk about chants, spells, incantations, evocations, that's all language, ladies and gentlemen. Because that's the magic of a human being. So I'm going to go back, Linda, to what Linda said. Two things. She said, I only know how to call it the big umbrella. That's because, let's say, the big umbrella is all her mind can get to. So she's present to what there is to be present to, but it's not been brought into language. Because language for human beings is what has something exist here. But we have languaging like getting access to understanding something, not like being evokers or magicians, that by our articulation, it has a place here again. I am the word. So Linda, in your phenomenon of the big umbrella, there is a driving force. That driving force is the spiral. It's a toroidal field. That driving force is the spiral that's trying to find the cognitive articulation or the incantation that when you can language it, it is here. This is called field phenomenon. It is here. And then your system, our systems become very erratic. They become very charged, or as Carol said, angry. Not because there's a personality that is angry. It's because it's trying to break open the box and move back into its capacity as a source-based being source. So now we're going to go to the family. Let's say, now remember, the hard thing with this is, I don't know how to correct it, is we look at these like they're separate boxes, but 55 contains all of everything in here. Is everybody clear about that? It's fields within fields within fields within fields. So let's say that in the broken system she was born into, there were just boxes talking to each other, which is pretty much how reality works there. Bumper cars. But as her capacity to be present to what there is to be present, to open up into what there is to open up into, and be what there is to be improves, then she can get to, she could be in 34 or 21, and the relational field is everything's part of everything else. Everything operates on behalf of everything else, and yet everything has a place in different degrees of capacity. In different degrees of capacity. Now, I want to say one more thing. We're talking about high level consciousness now. And remember, that's why I think people should read that little book, Language Creation, every day, or at least the sections about the different ways of thinking, because we still have either or. Even out in 21, we still have either or. Either I'm in the broken system, or I'm in the system fulfilling on it, the relational field of oneness with all kind, with all humans. So we don't have the gear shifts in our brain yet. We don't know how to gear shift through all this. So either we're highly agitated or we're calm. That's the part that we're out to master. That energetically in the ethers. So Carol, going back to you, every time that anger rises, you should come back to center and start craving and start moving the energy, spiraling the energy, so that you're not the eye at the effect of the world around you, but you are the source-based being willing something to come into existence. Up with this, I will no longer put. When my energy field gets to that thing, now it doesn't mean it disappears like that. All my terror I have right now is around money. I'm never terrified about money at this level. But I took on the system consciously, didn't I? I had to run the templates on money 3 times when we were in the spirals. So I took on the beast. So if I think of myself as number 1 or number 2 box, then I'm at the effect of how money has boxed us in the larger systems. So the part we can't get to any day soon, I don't think. We'll see how it goes, because I'm having to eat my words every month. So, but it depends on where you're standing in the toroidal field, the capacity of self in the toroidal field. We're not at a Jesus level. We're just not. That was a skill set we are really working towards, because didn't he say that? You can be as me. He said it. He said
Yes, yes, he did.
So all we're working on is getting booked for a fucking class. But in working on the mechanics of a system, we begin to get access to what? Very important. The mechanics of all systems. Because you're starting to become system centric, not thing centric. Not thing centric. And how you know your skill and capacity is usually in confidence. You start to feel a confidence. That's not an egoic framework, that's an energetic framework. It's an ether. You start to feel confident. So I don't work as a healer, and I don't, but when I say to somebody, I can fix you, I can fix them. I'm confident. But it's not my present personality. It's because I'm somewhere in the field, let's say 34, where within which it is fixed. I can just access that level of consciousness, take that being into that level of consciousness, and they're fixed here because they're whole there. And I bring it in here. That's why in the work we're doing, giving everything a place is essential. Because as we start to give everything a place, we then start to have where what can be engaged with on behalf of what. Because in our present system, we can't be well. This reality is not geared. It's geared to a short timeline. Even though our biology is geared to live 200 years, we have very few people living 200 years. It's geared more for fixing rather than wholeness. It's just the way it is here. But here in the present way it's promoted is not the only place we exist. So our job as magicians is to get to where we exist. And then here is no problemo. Thank you, Linda. That's enough for now for me. Anything you want to say about it?
It's just I was very, very aware with the umbrella that when I was trying to identify what it was, that it was not personality Linda, it was the big picture Linda. And I also was very aware of, at first I thought it was just FOTM, but and then I clarified it in my mind. No, it's not just FOTM. It's fields within fields within fields within fields.
Correct.
And the black and it kind of threw me that the umbrella was black, but I just came off a 4-day weekend with Dr. Sue Morter, and her deal is as we go around the spiral, we keep hitting the void every turn we go. That's what she teaches, and I've not quite been able to get that in my head because it's different than I've ever experienced the void before.
See, I think we hit the debris fields.
Pardon me?
I think we hit the debris of the broken matrices.
Okay.
I think we hit the debris field.
Okay.
But just going to what you said, Linda, that persona that you just spoke from, that is seeking to bring word to the big umbrella, that persona is seeking a place back here. And when all humanity suffers from being separated from itself, and everything starts to calm down, our systems calm down, our emotions calm down, everything limited starts to just settle, because that which we are has found a place back here in this reality, in this 3D reality. I'm not talking about circumstantial reality. Very good. Good work, Linda. Kristen? You want to mute? Kristen? Hello, there you are.
Oh, yeah, it just takes a bit of enough. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. River Walker is running home, and now that giant umbrella happens to be my garage. So thank you. So I want to reflect back something you said as we go back to what you were saying in the beginning about source-based being and the intra-connected, interrelated. I can't think of the third one in this heartbeat of the moment, but
Interdependent.
in the interdependent. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. In the dependent, it's interesting. I'm hearing codependency, but that's another debris field. In the subtle nuance of that being a with, intra with. As you said that, and I want to ask this question kind of back, but also I'm observing it. So there was this image of a tower that came through, and I'm hearing, you've touched the tower, you've touched the tower. You're touching my tower is actually the accuracy of it. You're touching my tower. And I've been observing, I've been really being in the observing of how an aspect of me moves with compassion and passion, and it's not always user-friendly, safe to be around at times, neither. So as I was reflecting back on actually the comfort of having a conversation, having a tip, like I leverage a tip of tipping into, yeah, tenderness, and there's where the cognition kind of starts to falter, but it brings me into something that I think is rising, which is the impromptu surrendering and going with the flow for me. And the more that I say that aloud and actually move with it, I start to feel bent. Like today, having no real plan, and it's the way I wake up most mornings, letting creation kind of move with me. I found myself finding me moving through the visuals of what kind of an observer of what kind of transpired and is transpiring, because we're still talking about it, right? So the magician of self. And I found it not really curious or fascinating, but like evidence for me that it took a few times to work with the mechanism of Loom, which is how I shot a video today, to track it for myself and for creation and observe it. The track is the observe. And then when you said back to me, I'm on the call with Gary, it flooded me into a dream last night, which had me moving through a building like a college. Or was room to room building, you know, like you said, boxes, like literally shut that door, move to this one, all this. And there was tea being made in one. And then I kid you not, in the dream, I was questioning, is Gary still in the picture? Is Gary still here with us? And then I think in the with another, these templates that were, not these templates, the templates are bending and molding the signs and synchronicities so that they're seen in words, like one-worders like that hold profound meaning: umbrella, river, dear, beloved. And they don't have a lot more to them because it's just not much, something that is it's unsaid. It's like, how is it that we end up on a call that was canceled? It's not a how like to answer it, but it's just a profound wow. Like, I'm going to be releasing myself into the flow and wonder and move with the greater wholeness of which we are a part, for me. And here we are. And oh, there's that, and oh, there's that. And there's these they're blocks. I would say the words that came together in short words, short letters, are like bending and foundationally showing the bigger picture for everything, being a part of everything else for me. so that I can actually like honor that aspect of the tower and the compassion and passion that I at times was taught not to be and at times cherished for being. And I don't just mean this lifetime, but certainly the family blocks and all of that, like the bumper cars. Like, it's just, mom's family were carnies too in this lifetime, so that's actually funny. Yeah, I'm reflecting that back because when I heard you say intra, the with, that one rings really true for how we be with another and the observing and the observer scaling. I'm complete.
All right, two things I want to bring up regarding that. Hi, Victoria. Number one, her figuring out Loom and you all figuring out how to register is a way to develop complex thinking. Hold on, Linda, I'll get the captions up. I'm sorry. You should always make sure I do that. Okay? I don't necessarily do that. So a simple thing like learning how to do Loom or learning how to get yourself booked is having to get into systems that allow for complex thinking and for us to be able to mature our neural pathways, like Linda, copying and copying and copying. You should really take the time to do that, because if we don't have the neural wiring, it's like building a muscle so that you can pick up a heavy box. It's really.
Can I say something, Tom, to that?
Go ahead.
There's a debris, and as you said it, I was like, yup, the debris field. Because actually, even hearing it, it was like I'm observing and present to, you're so OCD. How come you do this over and over? Why are you perseverating on something? And there wasn't any like angst in the larger like the compassion. It wasn't about, yeah, I don't want to explain it away, but do you hear the debris field in that?
Yes.
That comes as soon as and oh, now she's talking about me again.
Yep.
Nasty. Go on.
Yes, there are guardians at the gate, beast at the gate of you will be abandoned, you will be rejected, or you will be betrayed. And they're very strong. I'll be right with you, Mark. So that was one piece, but I was really scared I was going to forget the other piece. I should have brought notes in here, a pencil and paper, but I didn't. Hold on a minute. I got it. So let's go back to the screen.
If you want to mute me, you can. I don't know how to.
That's fine. I'll do it.
Thank you.
So let's go back to the screen. Can you see it? Because I've got the caption on, and I just want to make sure you can see the screen, the spiral. Let me know. Say yes or no. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So remember in last month, we talked about point of origin. So Kristen, this is to you. So, and Linda, to you and anyone else, but I can anchor myself in your two conversations. And Carol, everybody that shared. So in our present collapse field, in our broken matrix, we say that human beings are the cause of their own brokenness. Definitely one of my pet peeves. Capital letters covering the entire universe. But can you hear the difference in a reality of separation? There's cause and effect. Well, if you hadn't been so OCD, you could do Loom easily. So there's this, you're at cause in that personality framework, and the result is your fault. In realities of unity, you recover your point of origin. In other words, nothing exists until you originate it. Make it yours. It's sloppy language. I don't have this articulated yet. I have the cognition and awareness, but I don't have it articulated well yet. I'm just saying that when you return to your system begins to return to itself. So we could say, Kristen, that in your taking on Loom, because that was funny you said that. I've been saying things to Jess lately, like I really need the microwave to not be flashing. Food is ready, food is ready, food is ready. And this morning I got up and I said, oh my God, I think I'm getting OCD. I think I'm OCD. But the truth is that I'm beginning to operate with precision. And one of the things that comes up, and we haven't unpacked this yet, because we haven't lived it yet. So it isn't like there's knowledge we should have, we don't have yet, because much of what we're doing now, we just haven't lived before. We haven't lived at this level of consciousness before. We haven't lived with the earth upping her vibration. We haven't lived where the earth and human beings are beginning to co-create together unknowingly new systems within which her planet can continue to flourish. Lots is going on. So we are working with becoming cognitively aware of the now of our existence, which is literally, Kristen, what I said to you, you might want to go back and listen to it in The Magician of Self. You might want to pull that out, because I remember saying it very precisely for you. Is that there's a difference between observing things and being aware of aspects of self and actually becoming the point of origin, because you originated that aspect. You originated taking on Loom. Do you track me? It'll take a minute. Just
Yeah, I do track you. I track that I originated that.
Yes. Now that isn't you caused it. You didn't cause Loom to be difficult. There's no causality in nonlinear. In creation, there's no causality. It's everything coming together on behalf of everything else and moving to the next greater whole, which can literally look like systems going away or collapsing or deconstructing or going out of existence that no longer provide what they need to provide in the movement towards the next greater whole. Very good. Mark.
Is there
Go ahead.
is there also in the I that originated that, the Loom, is there also a I that is the watchtower that
Start there.
is imbued? Say that again.
Start there.
Watchtower. Is there watchtower that?
No, Kristen, start
Yeah.
there. Start to think there. I as the watchtower.
I as the watchtower. Is there I as the watchtower that has
Kristen.
me?
Kristen,
Mm.
start observing there. Start observing. I as the watchtower.
I as the watchtower observe
no,
a
don't do anything.
passive.
Stop. Can you hear the mechanism? All I want you to do is don't talk anymore. And what I want you to take on is observing I as the watchtower, I as the point of origin. Not with me, with yourself. Listen, this is very important what's happening, and we're going to go into the next section in 5 minutes. This is very important, though. Breathe, Kristen. It's very important because the survival system of her present personality, look what it's given her. Look at the contribution she's made. Look at the purpose that she's fulfilled on. And it stands in the face of memory. Usually memory of betrayal, rejection, or abandonment. So it tries to bring everything back into its system. This is very advanced, so don't plan on having this, you grabbing this, okay? So it goes back into its mechanism. Not all mechanisms are bad. We wouldn't even have internet if mechanisms were bad. But it goes back into its system because, Kristen, the key is to get the point of origin, not the tower, not the facilitator, not the mother, not the wife. The key to the kingdom is to go back to, I'm in a point of origin. And one of the hardest things, it's what Gary and I were talking about this morning, and then I was sharing with him about our interaction around the booking. And because what's happening now is we're moving into even our well-constructed personas that allowed for something to exist here that could not exist if we hadn't been here is collapsing. So it'd be more, Kristen, like, let me show the screen again. Ah, frig, pardon me, I closed it. Nope, I think we're there. Mark, I'm going to get you. I think we're there, but I'll do this with Kristen. So the key, so Kristen, if you look at the, you can't, I'm gonna have to turn the caption off. Why can't I move the damn caption? Oh, I can. Okay, there we go. If we look at this is why it's mind bending. So Kristen, just interact with me, okay? Just what's there, okay? All right. Melissa called yesterday. A lot of you are going to get triggered because there's huge emotion. There's huge emotion around loss. And having lost our multidimensional sense of self is anguish beyond measure. So I just want to put that in. So can you, if you were to talk about who you are as your business, would it be where would it be on this spiral?
It's a they.
Yeah, absolutely. So I as they, okay?
I as they.
In the field of Tantra Mat, where are you on the spiral?
Us.
Excellent. I as us.
I as us.
When you're in the Black Tower or the tower, where are you?
It.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all different personas because they have to have different capacities and skills. And you can see, as long as the I of I is the point of origin, because it is the common denominator in all of those, what do you call it? Levels. It's not levels. All of those expanded.
The layers.
Layers, thank you. And all of those layers.
They're bent layers. Yeah, it's bent layers.
Layers. Yeah. Yeah. So could I say then to you, one of the eyes you're developing is the eye of we,
Yes.
probably your weakest layer.
100%.
Amazing sense making, isn't it?
Bending, mind bending.
Mind bending. Yep,
Mhm.
excellent. Excellent.
Thank you.
Mark? Unmute. Unmute.
Well, it's a good thing I was muted because I don't even agree with what I just said. I said I'm bending my mind, just trying to follow, but no, I'm not. No,
Hold
this is
on.
the little things.
Ed? Did you knock on the door? Yeah, come in.
Sorry, Nina wants to say hi.
Yeah, and I'm on a class, you know.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's why you told me to put the thing down if I was busy.
Yeah, it says smile. I thought oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's totally okay.
Oh,
Here I am. I don't think she wanted to see me.
guess
She
not.
went,
Okay,
I think she was looking for the beast.
Whoops.
You can come in if you want to listen.
No, it's okay. I apologize though.
Yeah, it was a spontaneous one. Go ahead.
Well, no, I thought of this before, but when you were talking about intra-relational rather than relational, I thought I had to say this, and I think so. I say it's a little thing because it was just a thought I had this morning. I was thinking about two friends of mine who I need to be in contact with, and we all know the kind of synchronicity where you call somebody or you pick up the phone and that person's right there. And nothing happened. Actually, I didn't talk to these people today because I have other things to do today other than this. So I figured I'd talk to them tomorrow. But I had the impression that that there's already a different relationship with them, just thinking about them. That there was already something deeper, and it was just a thought. But it seemed like that was a real thing.
Relevant.
Yeah.
It's relevant.
So, but
we
I just,
Yeah,
huh?
beautiful. Those are
Yeah.
worth observing and just to observe them because they don't have an explanation in our present system.
Right.
But it would be a we, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It
Exactly.
would be a we.
Yeah.
And as we begin to lose, hold on, I don't want to cry. Hold on a second. As we begin to lose our capacity to exist in the broken matrix, we gain our capacity to live in whole system response. And a whole system response builds matrices within which new futures can rise. So your experience with doing all the templates, all the creation exercises you're doing, and being in the unpacking with Liz and doing the magician and everything else you're doing is simply restoring capabilities. It's not about giving information. It's literally about restoring information. So you could say, and we may get some language out of this call we're in today, we may. But we could say, I woke up to our we.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't.
It was a real distinct.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was nebulous, but it was a distinct feeling.
Yes.
Like this is already different.
It's a register.
Right.
You registered something differently.
Right. And it was more intra, I think, than inter. Yeah. So that's why.
It was more you were within the relational field rather than they were over there and you were over here.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, Mark. Carol?
Well, something presents to me as Kristen and you were talking. And I know she and I sometimes go through the same kind of questioning to get to something. And what struck me was, and I realized it's something that has occurred and you've reinforced over and over again, that having an idea or a thought or what feels like a question, feeling it as a question is a way of saying, I'm trying to comprehend it for someone else to verify my comprehension. As opposed to starting from, here's what's present for me, and this is where I am, or where it is, or whatever the circumstances of that thought are. Which then takes me from a personality asking for confirmation that my brain is working right, or my comprehension is working right, to stating what's there. And that is creation, which my experience is you or others will still respond to that and still go, examine this part, examine that part of what you're expressing, to identify it better for yourself, as opposed to someone else saying, you're right, you're wrong, you're off, you're on, you got it, you got an A instead of a C on it. And that just hadn't occurred to me before, but it just occurred to me as you were talking. And
Now, Carol, constantly go back to your I, because you keep operating, identifying yourself a certain way. You want to know that you've got to get it broken up a bit.
yeah.
You've got to get it broken up a bit. I can't go any further on that than that.
Yeah.
Just when I am, so you could be in your observer self. You could be in your I as what's mine to pay attention to on behalf of life. And I'm reflecting on what's my I. My I is this one that is operating on behalf of, reflecting on behalf of life. And
Yeah.
feeding.
Yeah. My eye is very slickery at the moment.
Yes, it is. It is. And we're just at the beginning of this restoration of this level of cognitive capacity. There isn't like we missed the boat. It's the human mind has become completely I-centric. I-survival centric. So you were just being the I-survival centric observer. Not wrong, right? And it is accurate. It's good information. Because as the I begins, the present I that orients to this particular reality we're born into can observe itself. It has some chances to vote again. It has a chance to, one of the things I can't remember, I was talking to Melissa about yesterday. Where was I in? Have I done anything lately you all were part of? I remember the phrase, but I don't remember who I was talking to. Oh, but the phrase is that I've been living into. Oh, I know what it was. It was on the Creative World yesterday. The phenomenon we were talking about, that somewhere I was talking about that brought into Creative World yesterday, is that awakening is just as traumatic, equally as traumatic as being slammed in the face by somebody. Because as we begin to awaken, the reason we went to sleep was to survive. Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So what I said to Melissa yesterday was, I said, what would be worth the trauma for you? And Prometheus, Prometheus, it goes through the 11-foot electrical fence. That was worth the trauma for him to get free on the other side. So Carol, and respectfully, all of you, this isn't like, what I love about those of you I get to work with is there's an inbuilt core self that can measure its capacity without even realizing it. So while you all may think you're going under, or you're tired, you're flaky, or what all the list of terms are, the truth is everybody I work with has really good regulators. And I trust those regulators. But once you begin to become consciously conscious, in the background of thought is something, what will be worth the trauma? What for me would be worth going through the electrical fence? And I don't think that answer is present for us yet. In my case, with all this life-threatening stuff I've been in, I have a vision to 2027, and I really want to be here for that. So that's worth me risking my finances, risking my house being a mess. It's worth it to go into that for me because I have a date with 2027. So one of the key elements to personality, to persona frameworks, and that's what we're talking about in this, we're talking about personality frameworks. Kristen is not the same person to her family, same persona. Is that on there right?
It's
A little too big.
There we
it's
go.
too big.
Thank you. I can't get it smaller. There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So you want to look at this, Carol, for fun, because we haven't even tapped the surface yet. And see where your life is now. You know, like you and your beloved that I call Michael is an us because you take care of the realm within which you operate, correct?
Yeah.
So it isn't even us like humans, it's us like us in our realm, right?
Mhm.
So then I would say that it'd be valuable for you to what the next realm, the next layer is it. Developing a relationship with it. Finding your it. Because the magic of human being is always to cognitively be moving into the next greater whole. And we're just giving a way to think it. Because this is what a human being is. A human being is I am that. And where I am that is my individual perception, my perception with another in the field. You and Dave have that too. The they may be weaker for you. The us next to it, because it's always moving to the next greater hold. It's not going backwards. It's just like Don Beck and his layers of civilization. Only this is layers of interactive consciousness. So more than likely, you're in the restoration point. Carol, you and Dave are moving to Portugal. You're probably in the restoration part of the matrix of us and it. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. And to be okay about it's no longer they, like being a journalist. Do you know?
Yeah. I lived in they a long time.
Exactly. And in FTM, you have we. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There is some place you are on this spiral. And there are fluctuation points where you move back and forth, tending to what there is to tend to. Victoria. Thanks for finding us.
There is, I'm clear that I am here. I'm very aware of what you were just saying about how you've taken on money and you took on body, and how those two are interacting in where you are in the I, we, they, us, it. So I'm appreciating that in the moment. And I'm also reflecting on how I'm in that I have been taking on visibility. And I'm very aware of the ebb and flow of guardian beast at the gate. in this particular aspect. So I'm presencing that. And I'm also, for the first time when I saw the Fibonacci spiral, I got this clear register of each of the blocks, 3D, so below aspect, all the blocks, wholeness, so above, and then the spiral is the bending. Accurate? Okay, so that register for me is another little piece of cognitive articulation coming on board. And with that, I'm happily complete.
That's brilliant. Let me now open this up again. Sorry. Where's my little share? Okay. Oh, I just love Zoom. Not really. Okay. So let me re-say what she just spoke to. So when we look at this, if we look at the top, if we look at the vertical, the top from the eye up being our relational field in higher consciousness, if you remember the toroidal field, that the accordion. And then there's the I, we, they, us, it. We could say, I'm not saying it's true because this isn't flat. We could say as who am I in higher consciousness as a we, who am I in higher consciousness as a they, who am I in higher consciousness as an us, who am I as higher consciousness as an it. So you find this in enlightened beings and avatars. Then the part that often happens in avatars is they don't have an environment around them where they can continue to mature who they are as a human being. I as an I as a we, I as a they, I as a us, I as an it. So without Deb and others forming community, I would not be sitting here. There's a chance I would have ended up I didn't, nor did I want to, but I've had 2 opportunities in my life to take on being an awakened master back in my 20s. And then with Saima becoming a guru, I chose not to. But don't ever think that I don't hold myself to account at that level, at that layering. And that's between me and me.
Right.
But my constant knowing the key to the kingdom at this juncture, where the activity is happening, is it possible? This is an inquiry. Is it possible to develop a sense of the higher consciousness of ourselves? I as a we, that's why the field of Tantra Mat works in alliance. Because that's the I as a we, that's not a personal phenomenon. I as a they, that's why I don't allow talking about the enemy. Or I don't even allow the word they. I as an us is one of my goals. That Saima over here, Sandra over here, Marengo over here, me over here. Do I have another one? Biogeometry over here. If we all can form a coherent field together, each in our own expression of a reality, each in what we're tending to, can you get a feeling of what could happen below? What could happen in the human system if the higher consciousness beings are developing interactive, intra-relational, intra-dependent or symbiotic relationships with each other? Shockingly beautiful in my world, because the higher vibrations influence the lower, more solid, dense vibrations. And then there are people that are working below. My daughter is completely they. And there are a lot of theys out there now that are really representing something that's never been represented before in the human spectrum. So the goal of the magician of self is to mature your sense of self and to be able to work with this visual, which Leslie's son was, finally we found somebody that could make it for us. And he's going to make it into transparencies and a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be great. And we may even get other systems to work on our behalf. Who knows? But the point is that it gives us a visual to look at and ponder on and trigger different capacities of our neural wiring to think, because human beings' ability to become consciously conscious happens in their ability to cognitively be aware. And then when they are cognitively articulating, they are literally, I am the word, and where I am, the word is. That's why obsession with a large black umbrella becomes obsessive compulsive, because it's a higher consciousness seeking to bring something into existence here on behalf of all life. Linda?
I think it's happening.
It is.
I think it's happening.
It is happening.
Okay. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, it is happening. Okay. Any comments or questions, any takeaways? And then we'll close.
Yeah, I have one question. It's a simple, simple one. You said we went to sleep to protect ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually.
Yeah, you should read The Language of Creation. It's right in the beginning of the book.
Oh, I read it, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, you should read it again.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
it?
Yeah, I have it.
You should read it again. It says
Okay, it's right.
I can never recreate it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
It's right. It's right.
Okay, great.
It's in the room.
Trauma. I think it's right in the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Kristen?
Do I owe you? How do I pay you for this? I'm not aware of if there was a component to that. You said you pulled the product. Just let me know how.
Donation to the office at tantramat.com.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Interesting. It was the one thing I didn't bring up in the beginning.
Got you covered. I love money.
Now I would like to post this, but I need your permission to do it. I would like to post it on the Magician of Self thread. Okay, that's layer 1. I would really like to post it on Create a World. But I need you all of your permission to do that. So, anybody decline? Bless you. And thank you for calling something into existence that I could not call myself. That therein that is a we. Calling the I. Beautiful. Have a great day.